there should be a document that is being distributed that is on PowerPoint. While they're doing that, I want to thank Ms. Steinmetz for her encouraging comments and thank the teachers who are here this evening. I think after our back to school fair and our recent community workshop, we really are off to a good start, and it feels positive, and we need to all work to keep that going, and I'm sure we will. I'd like to thank the principals representatives who are here this evening, Mr. Steve Richards, Dr. Ty McNichols, and Dr. Roger LeBlanc. And I also want to welcome back Mr. Rich Carver, who is returning as the interim CFO. And the person you see walking around there is the new public relations person. You probably saw her at the school fair. We want to welcome also Ms. Karen Miller. So we're glad everyone is here and energized and ready to go. I want to take the opportunity, board members, to talk a little bit about initiatives, focus areas for next year. I began by reminding us of our mission statement, vision statement, and our 3 district goals, including improving student achievement, enhancing professional development, and increasing parent and community engagement. I coined the initiatives and focus areas as Hazelwood Now. We had Hazelwood first, we had Hazelwood next, we have Hazelwood Now. And some areas of focus and initiatives for next year, and board members, I know you've heard this presentation and this information. This is obviously still in draft because assignments will be made, timelines will be added. But as we look at this year, I'd like us to focus on new and innovative educational programming. We've said that, we're a strong school system, but in many ways we're very traditional. And the students that are coming to us now are less than traditional in terms of their needs. Case in point, our Opportunity Center is designed to serve students across the continuum more comprehensively and differently than we have in the past. Likewise, we're looking at opportunities and options for both adults and children. And a big one, and I know this is something that we can't emphasize enough given where we are. I just heard someone earlier today again talk about how in our community we're really getting bad press in the media. And so I think working together with parents, staff, and community to build coalitions and capacity is what is needed so that we can move forward. And I'm encouraged that we'll do that. So as we look at focus areas under new and innovative programs, some initiatives have to do with curriculum innovation, program development, program implementation, and a lot of committee work. So if you're a parent or a constituent or a teacher or in some cases students and you're interested in being involved, if you think the budget subcommittees were involved last year, we're going to make you even happier this year because we need your help, we need your input, we need your insight in order to move forward with some initiatives. Some things that I've discussed with the board and that we'll be moving forward to process. I'd like us to look at some thematic schools. Those of you that have been in conversation with me have heard me say many times, I'd like to see if we can't maybe look at thematic STEM schools, or maybe International Baccalaureate, or Performing and Fine Arts, or maybe a gifted education magnet, or maybe a year-round school. This is part of the committee work, but committees will be set forth so that this time next year, at some of our elementary and middle schools, we'll have some thematic schools with innovative, different, and exciting program. And we need individuals who teach in the schools, who are in the community, who are serving on committees, and parents and others to help us develop not just thematic schools, but other new and exciting curriculum. Under program development, we've joined a cohort in this district, and it's called Redefining Ready. And the short version of Redefining Ready is it looks at students' progress through middle and high school, not just based on a test score, but based on them being college ready, career ready, and ready for the workforce. We often hear that everyone is not going to college, but even if everyone is not going to a traditional four-year college, they certainly need to be prepared to be productive. And so we'll bring forth with curriculum instruction, a comprehensive report on Redefining Ready, which you'll hear more about. So our students have plans for where they want to be, how they want to progress, rationale for why they're taking the classes they're taking, looking at apprenticeships and internships and those AP courses, so that students are actually focused on something at the end of high school, not just a diploma, but some type of college career or work preparation progression. As we talked about students who have many more needs, students who are coming to us with many challenges, we know that we have little ones and some older ones as well, and some adults as well. We're suffering from trauma. We're in a position where we need to program plan to support those students in our schools. Been in conversation with the special school district to look at partnerships. So maybe we have some classrooms that are piloted or used for mindfulness or safe spaces for students. These are things that we would develop conceptually. So we hope that during this year we can pilot a few. By this time next year, we'll have some classrooms in our schools, particularly focusing on elementary, because we have the middle and for middle and high, we have the alternative center. But we have some young people that we know we're underserving because their needs are extremely severe. Under program implementation for current programming, we know that we are accredited. We are going to remain accredited. We're strong. The board has expressed interest in progress monitoring toward accreditation with distinction. And I think that that is a goal that is going to take some work. I think we're up to the challenge. Obviously this year, successful implementation of the middle school options. We have 3 middle schools that are in a different kind of scenario than they were last year. The most striking is of course East Middle 8th grade center. And those individuals deserve some kudos. From May until August 15th, they will literally have opened a new school. And then, of course, the successful implementation of the alternative program Opportunity Center that you just heard a presentation on. We're going to need some brain power. We're going to need some ideas. We're going to need some committee work. And several of the things we've talked about that either have come out of key communicators or other meetings from last year, improving adult attendance, that's across the board. It is not necessarily one segment more than others, but we need to look at some of the factors that prevent teachers, administrators, other staff people from being in schools and serving students every day, and see how we can successfully address those. Block scheduling, that is a committee that came out of the budget subcommittee last year. We want to aggressively look at doing something to reform our middle and high school schedule with an idea that we could reform and make some changes for the next school year, the 18-19. And then, of course, faculty and staff retention, recruitment, and recognition initiative. We've heard loud and clear how some people don't feel appreciated. And I think while we do appreciate individuals, I think we can certainly do more to say good job or thank you for being here, or we're glad you're here. And sometimes it's those little things. So we had some efforts last year. We want to have something a little bit more robust this year. So we're going to have a committee to continue to work on that. And that's faculty and staff across the board. Under professional development, we want to provide options and opportunities to build employee capacity, skills, and knowledge, and to level set expectations so that regardless of which school you're in, there's certain baseline expectations that parents can expect. One of our initiatives, cross-training, is sustainability coaching. Board members, you've heard me say that within each department, we're going to formalize some training and sustainability so that if one person is out, another person can carry on. They can't replace them, but they certainly can sustain what we need sustained while we're here. We're going to formalize that for each department and have it very structured. We have a one-to-one technology initiative. We want to fully implement that. We're into year 3, and at this juncture, we know we have individuals who want to try some innovative things, more flipped classrooms, more integrated technology on a day-to-day basis. We want to support that, celebrate it, and really make a big deal out of it because that is quite an investment, and it is a way that many of our students learn. We have At this juncture, as of today, I believe we have 10 teacher vacancies, is that correct? We believe we have a highly qualified, certainly certified team of teachers, but we do have quite a few new to Hazelwood and quite a few new to the profession teachers. We want to provide them resources, professional development, and some very structured mentoring. We have some mentoring in place through central office. Each building is providing a mentoring plan for their teachers, but we want to do more because we have more needs. And so I think that's an area that the administration and the teachers union can work on together to help build more capacity and support for teachers. Likewise, principal coaching and developing capacity for future leadership. We've hired, just like with our teachers, some excellent, outstanding principals this year. Also some assistant principals. We want to do more, though, in developing people who are within the district so that we have a good cross-section of external and internal when those administrative vacancies do occur. And then, of course, we want to continue our baseline professional development, cultural competence. This year we're focusing on sort of level setting across schools because we've been hobbling along a little bit year after year, one school after the other. We need to level set and have a baseline of cultural competence where everyone in the district has had that professional development. And of course, restorative practices ties much into what we're talking about with trauma-informed. We're looking at our alternative programs. We're looking at student suspensions, looking across the board at how we deliver services for our students in challenging times. And I put the John Hattie research up here because I like Hattie's research more. We could talk about him all night because his research pulls on and draws from so many other research bases. And a lot of times we do things because we either have done it before, we did it in the past, or we did it that way when we were in school, but we don't look at the research as thoroughly as we should about what does make a difference, particularly when you're serving students who are from extremely diverse populations. So we want to focus a little bit more on what the research says does make the most difference, what has the most effect. And so we'll focus a lot on Hattie's research. Likewise, one of the things that will be a major part of our work this year is we're in the midst of the state audit. The state auditors are still here. I don't know in terms of timeline when they will complete their work, but at whatever point they complete their work, certainly that will be in the next few months. And the administrative team, working with the board and working with other staff people, our emphasis is going to be on studying those recommendations, understanding what they mean, and developing plans to address them. And the reason that's under level setting expectations is it's probably going to mean that some people, all people, and most people will have to do some things differently. And so it's going to be incumbent upon us to see what the audit says and to address those findings strategically and quickly. And so that will be quite an undertaking. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier, we have some guiding principles that we had last year as well. I've kind of formalized them this year, did some professional development overview with principals, so that when we look at policies and how we communicate and the customer service we provide to our families and our schools, we're more consistent than not. And I have been very unapologetic about the fact that the students and families in this schools, in our schools, they're our customers. We work for them. And so we owe them a duty of care and follow-up and a baseline level of service that is always good and we hope in most cases excellent. And likewise with the administrative team, we're looking at administrative responsibilities at and for board meetings so that we're giving the appropriate follow-up when those assignments are made. Last but not least is budget. This year we did present a balanced budget. Of course, part of our challenge is going to be to continue to have that balanced budget in times when we don't have additional resources. To that end, we need to increase parent community involvement by working together with parents, staff, and community to build coalitions and capacity. I've said that we are as strong as some of the partners and resources we can get. And when you're hearing about the Opportunity Center, one of the things about anyone who is housed there part of their MOU is they're gonna provide some services for our students free. So they're not housed there for housing, they're housed there because they are partners in the education of our children. But in order to reach some of the ends, we need ambassadors and advocates. We need some friends. We need people who are saying good things about our school district and feeling good about our school system. Or as Ms. Diamond said, people who maybe have moved out, but who bought in, or who have come back and they plan to be here. We intend to have more community outreach and partnerships to that end, and a lot of committee work. So under ambassadors and advocates, last year people got a chuckle out of the tea talks, but I'm gonna do the tea talks again. We didn't have overwhelming attendance, but there were between 30 and 40 people, and that was 30 or 40 people with whom I had not communicated directly. And so I think all in all, it was time well spent. This year we're adding something called teacher talks. It's not just for teachers, but it just resonated much better. But most of the people who will probably come will be teacher talks. This is a collaborative effort between me and the H&E president, Ms. Diamonds. And I know that last year that we, first of all, I would say last year we had a good year up until the end. And so that is one of the things that I want to reframe, because we get heard about how terrible last year was. Last year was pretty good, even with the budget subcommittee work up until May. And for some reason we tend to have a May melee. And so we want to make sure next May we don't have that. But I know there's some sentiments. I think there are people who are hurt. Last night when we had the workshop with ACLU, we talked about moving forward, not moving backwards. But there may be some things we need to listen to differently. There may be some communications that need to be had. So Ms. Steinmetz and I are going to station ourselves on a schedule in every school. We're going to come in at breakfast time at elementary schools. We're not providing breakfast. Bring your own breakfast or get whatever you bring from the cafeteria. We're just going to station ourselves in the lounge or the workroom or wherever, and let's just talk. Let's just hear what you have to say so we can move forward and so that we can take suggestions. At elementary and middle schools, we're going to do the same thing at lunchtime. And it is a genuine effort to rebuild some communication, to rebuild some trust, and to allow for a forum so we can move forward and not have another May like we had last May, or another any month like we had last May. And to that end, we also have workshops similar to the ones we had, and a very robust parent community partnership. We will have a communications and public relations plan. I think school districts tend to shy away from using the term public relations. I think we're at a point in this district and in most school districts that we need to talk about public relations. We need people to hear and see good things that are legitimate and believe good things. So we need not only just communications, but we need a public relations plan, and we need you to help us with that. In terms of community outreach and partnerships, I alluded to this earlier: maintain a balanced budget while sustaining quality educational programming. You heard me reference the block scheduling committee. We have this year talked a lot about, or I have, repurposing dollars. For example, the Alternative Opportunity Center. We took existing dollars and just reframed how we were going to utilize them. Save a minor amount of money in that process, not enough that it is worth bragging about. When we look at things like thematic schools and we look at the schedules that we have, we're not going to get millions and millions of more dollars. We're going to have to look at how we are using the money we have and figure out what we want to do differently, because we need to maintain that balanced budget, but we need to sustain the quality educational program and meet the challenges of the new student populations that we have. This one came up at Tea Talk, and some of you will chuckle. I'm calling it my manners matter and family involvement. I added the family involvement. One of the things I think we need to also not be apologetic about is what in old school we call manners. And so part of the committee work I want us to have is to have some basic things that are acceptable and not acceptable in Hazelwood Public Schools. I mean, it just can't be okay that anything goes, and everybody can't just make all the rules. And we respect what our children bring to us, but when they enter these schoolhouse doors, there are certain expectations for behavior that we are going to expect, and some that we're not going to concede. But we can't have a laundry list of 10 to 20. And so I know different schools have different components. We want to stabilize some things. For example, the example I use is most have something, someone says, keep your hands and feet to yourself. We're going to add, keep your hands and feet and other body parts to yourself. And we're going to be very explicit. Pick up behind yourself. And we need to model for children what we expect. We probably can have the big five, but we need to be deliberate. We need to be clear. We need to be unapologetic, and we need to be supportive in training our children, because much of what we see as discipline is that expectations are different from place to place, and our children will rise to the occasion. By the way, the Manners Matters applies to adults too. And then, of course, we have a school-based health center initiative underway. You probably saw some of the good press we had on TV, was that there was a car show to raise funds. It is a partnership between our school district and Christian Hospital. And so we're looking at opening a school-based health clinic, we hope by spring, at East High School. That will also serve East High and East Middle. And the big work, now all of that folds into, yes, initiatives that are going to be started, but in conversation with the board has agreed that we need to engage in a strategic planning process. We need to have a 3 to 5 year strategic plan that defines clearly what we want Hazelwood school districts to look like, what we want to offer to our students, what services we want to provide. So part of that work will fold much of the data from those committees, but we need people to work with us on strategic planning. Because the next bullet, there was a study this year on redistricting, demographics, and staffing. And I wanted to be clear, when people say we redistricting, that certainly is not my decision, but it certainly also is not a recommendation that is being discussed with the board at this point. We need to study what we have. We need to study trends and know what we need. So my proposal to the board is this year we will receive the study. We met a couple of weeks ago with the team that has been hired to do the demographic and staffing study. It will probably take them until the spring to get that study completed. So obviously a school district wouldn't redistrict the next year, but the next year might be a planning year, moving into the third year being the actual redistricting, but it needs to all fold into a strategic plan. Student Recruitment, Retention, and Return to Hazelwood Committee. Once again, being very shy about the fact that based on the last data that we had, there are about 1,700 students who are eligible to attend Hazelwood school districts who do not. Some of them won't, some of them never have. Different people leave for different reasons, religious, etc. But we don't want individuals leaving our school district for lack of satisfaction. And we want to be clear and make people feel welcome. We want our students. We want all of our students. And I think it is high time that we fought to keep our students in our district. And so just sometimes saying that and embracing that notion that the days of assuming that because people live in a certain area, they're going to be in a certain school, if they did exist, they don't exist. And so we want to be intentional about the fact that we want to recruit our students, we want to retain our students, and for those who've left for some reason other than just a personal choice, we want them to consider returning and give them reasons to return. We heard a lot of discussion about the Code of Conduct book. And I think the process is in place that there is a systematic review, but there were some questions about some items, and as we were moving through the process, we didn't have time this year to address some of the last minute questions and concerns. One of the concerns, of course, is as the committee did its work, there was not a lot of parent involvement. And so we want that committee to start work earlier this year, just reviewing the Code of Conduct and seeing what the implications are. And we need your help on that. And then finally, the Budget Committee. You know, last year you did great work on the Budget Subcommittee. Some of the work that you did and that had been done the previous few years ended up with not only a balanced budget, but other suggestions of things we might consider, such as the block scheduling subcommittee. We're going to need your help again this year. Maybe it won't be as comprehensive as it was in the past because we pretty much beat that budget to death in terms of line items. But we are going to need budget work and budget committees, and we need you to serve in that advisory capacity. I thank you for the opportunity again to have been the superintendent of Hazelwood School District for 1 year and 1 month. If there have been successes, it is because of, yes, my hard work, a very supportive board, but also because of the work that you have done. I do believe that we can and will do better, and so I thank you and look forward to that cooperation. I will entertain questions from the board.